and that's good news. Now, I want to shift to another story, and I'm going to invite my friend Josmon up to share a little bit of his story. And so will you welcome Josmon? And Josmon, you and I got a chance to talk this week, and I'd love to hear you share why this story of Nick, how you connect or relate to it.
So I myself was a skeptic. I was born into a Orthodox Christian family, and Christianity was more of a convenience for me. Because compared to many other religions, Christianity offers freedom in what you can eat, what you can drink. So it was okay. But deep inside, I had questions which I knew I was afraid to ask my church or my family. One of them was, did Jesus actually resurrect from the dead? And when I look at it now, it was not a question whether Jesus resurrected. It was more of a question whether if Jesus is God. If Jesus is God, resurrecting from dead is not a big deal for him.
Now, you didn't initially feel like you had a safe place to ask those questions, but a little later you began to wrestle with those questions. So tell us how that happened.
So my dear wife, she was a Hindu, and when we thought about getting married, I told her that you need to become a Christian. So she did. And not just that, she started digging deeper into Bible, going for Bible studies, volunteering at church, and finally signing me up for volunteering at church, which I was a little upset about. But anyway, during that journey, one night we watched The Case for Christ by Lee Strobel, and that started answering some of my basic question about resurrection of Christ.
And so, but you had a moment a little bit later that really kind of was the turning point for you. So describe that moment and that turning point.
So she lived with me for some period of time, and then around 16 years back, she gave me an ultimatum one day that if you don't want to follow Christ, I'm going to leave with my kids. And that was a low point and a turning point in my life. And I had to go to Boston the next day, and I was in the hotel room praying, and I think I fell asleep. And in the middle of that, I saw a dream where I was in the palm with nail hole. And that palm lifted me up, gave me a kiss on my cheek, lowered me, and held me close to his heart. The message I got was, he has me in his palm, in my high points and my low points. And in my low points, he wanted me to hear directly from his heart. And that was very personal. And that was the start of my journey.
So Jesus, who Jesus was, has clearly become good news. And how has that continued to be good news in your life?
So he healed me from my addictions and my selfishness and saved me my marriage. If it were not for Christ, I wouldn't be with my dear wife and my wonderful kids today. More than that, I was also an anxious person. And in the last few years, we had some financial storms and some health difficulties. And he gave me a peace which I really cannot explain in the midst of all that. Knowing that the creator of the universe have you in his palm, is more than peaceful. And I would also say this, I didn't say in the last hour, but he also has a good sense of humor. He used a Hindu woman to convert a Christian into a Christ follower.
Well, would you thank Josmon for sharing his story?